Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have any minutes and reports received and filed?
No, I do not.
What have you been doing since yesterday? I think we will forego our liaison reports, upcoming meetings. Any commission comments? Bids and contracts. New business, Otis service and repair order.
This is for the old elevator that's 65 years old. We're having problems with the door operator. Jeff asked me to get a price on it, and you all have the price.
It's a classic elevator.
It's old.
Classic.
And what is the malfunction?
Malfunction is the motor is losing its oil to pressurize the door open and close. The seals are shot. Seals are no longer available. The shaft has a groove in it, so that everything has to be replaced.
This goes back to the 60s.
Yeah, mid-60s.
It's classic.
It's old.
I think we got our money's worth.
How much was it?
29,000.
Come with the 60-year warranty?
I doubt it. We'll be lucky to get 5 years out of it.
Let's say that.
What does this elevator do that the other elevator?
This is the one the prisoners come up and the jail use, as well as all the judges and the marshals. It's only big enough for about 4 people.
Yeah, I think the marshal's concern was it breaking down while they're in there with the prisoner, just other concerns as well, but it's been that way for a while, and I think we've limped along with it, so.
We tried patching it, but it just keeps blowing the seals out, so. This is our really only option, is to replace the closures and stuff.
What's the time frame for?
I don't remember. You're probably looking at 3 to 4 weeks once the contract's signed.
How long does it take them to do that? Is that like a one-day thing, or?
They thought they could have it done in a day, provided no problems.
Things like words.
It must be some pretty expensive parts then, because it's 29,000, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they've got to run some new cabling back down to the old switch gear to accommodate the new stuff. So.
I don't see an option on it.
No, so I don't know if we need a motion to go ahead and
Yeah.
proceed with it. And
Was that motion?
is that state contract, or are they?
They're on a contract. We have them on a contract.
They're repair and maintenance. We have our own contract with them.
I'll make a motion to proceed with the Otis service and repair order for the elevator door.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll get that off each and decide it here in a little while.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Okay.
Can you sign it?
Yeah.
Budget discussion.
Let's start with the health department. Christie's here with us today. So on page 59, on the revenue side, we've got discussions on the reimbursement of personal service. It just needs to match the expense there that related to wellness. And then the bioterrorism, the revenue I have down is $48,500. The actual is $48,103. So then on the expense side on page 60, would change to $48,103 as well.
And some of the expense goes into personnel. So the actual expense line is only, I'll get the number for you, but it's much less. Like we only spend probably,
We had 3,000
yeah,
before.
exactly. The rest of it goes to personnel.
Okay, so 3,000 stayed the same and the rest is personnel.
Correct.
Okay. A topic we've had and continued on, just want to bring up that the nurse practitioner salary before any pay plans is included, and that's $107,810. So that's a decision to be made as to whether the nurse practitioner position we continue forward or that is removed out. Christy and I have talked about possible ways to market or promote that. I've talked to the chamber. We were talking to some local businesses and everything. So if we want to move forward with it, I think we need to look into some additional marketing and information campaigns for that position.
Yeah, I agree. At first, we kind of started just for city and county employees, and then we realized that we could open it up to the public. And I think we've relied on free advertisement, the paper, Facebook, word of mouth. But as we know, like not everybody's on Facebook, not everybody reads the paper. So I've sent it to some businesses. We've marketed it with some businesses that we do biometrics with, but we've looked into some other advertising and it costs money. So if we want to market it, we might need some marketing money. We've talked about putting a sign out front, which I know we have some quotes for that, but Eric just mentioned that, he wants to relook at that too because he's thinking they may be able to do it at a more affordable price. But we did bring some more data for you. I know that Harry had asked about the NP by by days of the week. So I have that for you. If you want to take one and pass it on. And then Dana's here, Dana and Jen are here, and Dana ran some insurance numbers. So here, if you want to take one and pass it on, is some comparison costs of what it costs us versus if we go to that. So I'll let Dana talk about that because she actually got these numbers from staff. Correct?
So on the Quick Care cost comparison, these are actual visits that were completed by some employees in the health department that were kind enough to share their EOBs and claims with me. And so these are all visits that were verified that could have been done by the services that our nurse practitioner in that clinic offered. So just the ER one, if you look at that from April of this year, there was a client that had a chin laceration, was in the age group that Michelle sees. They had to go to the ER because they didn't know for sure if Michelle would be able to care for that. It was an earlier Monday morning. The client or the employee has said now that knowing what she knew, she would definitely come there because it would have cost her $70 with Michelle. And she paid out of pocket $1,075.99. That was what was billed because it applied to her deductible. Okay, and you can kind of go down the line and see. One of the things I would really like to point out is we've heard a lot of employees say, well, why would we come to the health department when it costs $40 to see when I can go to my physician or to like an Express Care and pay $30? So out of pocket at the time of visit, yes, you're paying $30. But if you look at the example from 9/19 of this year, this was someone that took their child to JC Peds, and it was their Express Care.
It's on page it's on line 14. If you go down to line 14.
Yeah. It was for an ear infection. They paid their $30 copay that you can see under cost to employee. But on the back side of that, for that visit alone, the county got billed $100.32. So yes, the employee only paid $30, but the county paid money out as well on that claim, where they could have gotten that office visit and everything inclusive for the $40 because there was no additional testing done at our Quick Care. So I really think that we need to encourage our employees and maybe do some education with our employees and their staff on what it really means to say a $30 copay versus the entirety, the cost of that visit as well. And maybe incentivize them a little bit, and encourage them to use our facility, because its cost saving is dramatic to the county or to the client, either one. I mean, it's coming out of someone's pocket somewhere, and we can save huge amounts of money per visit.
Well, we've talked about lowering ours to $30, which, so that, whether you go to a urgent care, quick care, the health department, you're paying the same amount. And then we've also, what Jefferson City has started doing, and I'd like to see us do the same, is that if, say, one of Eric's people feels bad, he can leave, with going, talking to his supervisor, he can leave, go see Michelle, get medicine or shot, and be back at work and not have to use any sick leave. So, by doing that, you've got them, more during the day than waiting until after they get off work and going to one of these other entities, and we get billed more for that trip. So
I'm in favor of trying this, but I want to make it clear that, a year from today, when we look at this, a year from today, we're going to have page after page after page of these. This is just this is maybe promising, but when we start with a $108,000 salary and then other costs, as you know, go with it, we've got to prove that this is a good idea. And it's going to take a lot of this to prove it to me. It's hard to get started, I understand. So maybe you don't have to cover it all in 1 year, but if the trend line is getting better and better, or if the trend line is just hit or miss, that's going to be a big deal to me.
It's valid. I also would like to see what other services we're paying for as a county that Michelle could help with. I know we talked before about like pre-employment drug testing and physicals. Like, can she do those instead of like, Eric, they pay somebody to do that. I know the post-accident testing, we don't want to do that at the health department.
You cannot do the PCPs either. You have to be a certified physical therapist to do the PCP testing, which is pre-employment
for the
on the safety sensitive.
Because it's
So,
And the one column here is the cost to the county, and this is what we could save if they did the other thing. So that's great. That's a dollar. Cost to employee, well, maybe it's just as good.
Right. Right.
It's just one more fringe we give to our people, or provide to our people. But I'm from Missouri, so you show me that this is a good idea to the county. And the kind of medical ads that impress me are actually, maybe they're expensive to produce, but it's the fella who really, or the gal or the child that got, it's a visual. Maybe you can do it on the YouTube, or instead of going to the newspaper, going to the TV and buying TV time. I'm not suggesting that, but nothing sells like, the person who got the service. And when you're dealing with health with people, that gets a little spicy, of people talking about their health problems. But
even if you did just a generic mock-up visit with staff, where it's not real actual treatment, KMIZ may sponsor a article on it too, if you ask them.
would any of our ads qualify as PSA ads, public service ads, or not? We're competing with the real, other competition out there that has to pay for their ads. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll be able to get some of those or not.
I see that as kind of helping subsidize it, doing the public part of it. But, the financial side of it, I think we definitely have to look at, but there's also it's another fringe benefit, it's another access to care for the employees. So how do we get more participation? And we're talking about incentivizing it. Then do we decide if we're getting a benefit from it, so do we reduce the copay?
I know the city reimburses their staff for half, so they pay 40 and then the city, I don't want to have to reimburse.
That's too much.
But if we want to lower the copay, that would be easy for us to do on our end, not have to worry about reimbursing or anything. And we keep track, you saw on the papers, we keep track of if they're a county employee or not, so we can adjust their charges when they come in. That would be the easiest thing.
I think that's probably a good idea, because sometimes it's just, how much did it cost me today?
Right.
To go see
Right.
a health person, and if it's 40 here and 30 here, well, I'll pick the 30. We'll
Right.
drop it to 30.
Yeah.
Well, and the 30, if they get a shot or anything, then they pay, for that or get an extra test. So, I mean, we had even talked about dropping it to 20. That way, if they have to get a shot, it's still just 25. But it's your decision on what you want it to be. If you just still want,
30 's
you think 30 is fine?
I think, yeah.
I mean, I'd go lower. If we want them to use it, then we have to have the apple hanging out there in front of them.
Yeah.
If
So
we're-
I think I would do 20 because then it's the same as city employees.
And if we're gonna forego a $20 or a $40 copay to save, I don't know, what do we save at minimum? $100 for an office visit? Do they get charged, or
Well,
is that?
if
how
you
do
look at one of the examples on here for like a strep throat at JCMG, they go in and there's an office visit, so they pay the professional fee, which is the doctor's fee, just to walk in the room for that doctor to look at you. Then they have to pay that, what everybody knows as the facility fee. So they're paying to use that building, and then any procedures on top of that. If they're doing a rapid strep, they're paying for that test. And depending on our contract with whatever facility, that cost can vary a little bit, but I guarantee you that it's a lot more than the $5 that we charge for certain testing, like a rapid strep test. So our entire visit, if we drop it to 20 and they have a rapid strep test, it would be a $25 visit versus a minimum of this one. The employee paid $129.50 to have the exact same service done at an Express Care clinic
What do
here
we
in
do
town.
to our health insurance?
We do nothing.
Nothing.
No, I mean, when they go to.
when they go there,
what do we-
yeah.
I'm looking at more at what we're, and it's hard to do
It's
because we
offensive,
got
they have an
HSA and we got
yeah.
PPO, so there's a couple of
Yeah.
different ways.
This
to
client
figure
had not
that.
met their deductible, so they paid that $129.50. If they had met their deductible, then our insurance would have been billed 80% of that allowable, and the client would have been responsible for 20 until they met their out-of-pocket, and then the county would have paid 100% of that.
And that's the PPO. So the HSA, they would pay them for all the dollars.
Well, but the PPO in-network, they discount that. It's heavily discounted.
This is the discounted rates. These are
And
the
there should not have been
discounted
out
rates.
of pocket with a copay. They don't go together, with a copay and
No.
out of pocket.
This one right here, the 919 visit, is the only one that had the copay. The other claims are all the HSA claims.
Okay.
And they are all based on the allowed discounted rate off of the actual EOBs from the insurance
Yeah,
company.
the HSAs are hard to even compare.
I mean, it's still a significant savings to either the county.
We can lower the cost, for our county employee, and also we can, allow them to take off work, see Michelle, you'll be back at work in 45 minutes
I think
at the longest.
Right, I think lowering the copay will incentivize the PPO people to come because they're the ones paying $30 and the county being paid on the back end. So if it's cheaper for them to come to the health department, it will help those PPO people make that decision. And that's who, the county's being billed for more than the HSA.
And they are the majority.
The PPO are, Debbie?
Yes, absolutely.
And what's raising that's good, I like that.
Okay, so we'll lower the,
You can accept credit debit cards
yeah,
so
and they can use their HSA.
HSA.
Exactly, and we can give them the bill at the end to turn in to count towards their deductible. We can give them that and they can send it to insurance.
It's really easy. It's online. Anyone that has UMR, you go online,
You can-
you take that, I'm
You
sorry.
can take what you spend at the health department and apply that towards your deductible and pay out of your HSA. That's pretty good.
Well, and we would be happy to come to any department staff meeting and talk about this too. I mean, if, I might send these two just because they know more. Dana knows insurance like nobody's business. So, you know, but to answer those questions, we'd be happy to come and answer questions for staff. Because I think that is a lot of it is just they don't know what they don't know.
But I think if they can leave work, come see Michelle, be back at work, I think that's a benefit too.
I think it is too. Because some people might be like, well, I don't want to use sick leave, or you know, my supervisor doesn't want me to leave. I'll wait and go after work.
Yeah, and if supervisor says, no, you can't leave.
Yeah, that's.
You're in the middle of something,
Yeah.
and then that's that.
Okay, so we'll keep Michelle, lower the copay to $20, and we'll start keeping better records here. You know, we, at the beginning of this, we thought we had funding. We were not keeping as much track. So, you know, Dana did research and kind of asked employees on the back end for EOBs, but I think if we start this year knowing that we need to keep track of these things, that's easier than trying to backtrack and figure cost.
I think we're all in agreement to keep the program going.
Great.
We'll try for
I'm in
another
favor
year.
of giving it the good old college try here.
We'll do some more research. I'll work with Eric on the sign for out front, because, you know, he got some quotes. They're kind of expensive, so.
You got so much traffic on
I know.
Truman. It's-
I know, try to get out of there.
Yeah. A sign,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, yeah, I think going and talking to some businesses will help too. Okay.
We're going to talk on
Yeah, did you-
biometrics,
oh,
the indoor
and one more-
wellness.
yeah.
Say we're gonna lower the
Yeah, it's $20.
copay to 20.
And then I think it's up
Somebody
to,
goes visit, or we're gonna do, forego the hour of sick leave, give them 1 hour of sick leave to, or whatever they need for the test, or how?
Up to X hours. I
Yeah.
think whatever you can do to sweeten it, to encourage the use, I'm fine with that.
I think this is a benefit to the employees too, that
And we can have, you know, if need be, we can have Michelle, give them something.
Oh, we can
they
do work-
turn back
we
into
do work
their
excuses all the time.
supervisor or
yeah, we can
to
give you.
show that they didn't take off an hour to go.
they get all pass.
Yeah, we have work and school excuses that we can bring.
So is the policy going to be that they automatically get an hours of, because that's problematic for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah,
suggest
no.
that.
That's problematic
Change
for
the
me,
rate.
that's going to be problematic, I would assume, for Eric, because if they're on duty and they take an hour off, someone's got to cover that hour.
That's right.
So that means I got to pay an hour of overtime or 2 hours overtime because it's 2 hour callback.
Just
So
leave
that
it
means
up
I
the
have to
department.
pull assets elsewhere to cover.
Take
for
an
the-
hour, or you gotta cover it whether they take sick leave or we charge them. I mean, if they're gonna go to the doctor, they're gonna go to the doctor, and if we charge them, either way, you're having to cover it. So I feel like if that's why they're staying here and making everybody else sick or whatever, this gives them the option of, okay, I'm not gonna be charged an hour to go.
I'm just saying, there's a lot more to this than just by saying you're going to give an hour to people to
We don't necessarily say it's going to be an hour. We just say they.
However long it is,
Yeah.
it's going to complicate things. I'm just telling you. You got to look at it from the 24-hour. If you're going to offer it to everybody, then you got to look at it for the 24-hour coverage. So, I mean, I'll be anxious to see what the policy says, to see how that's going to line up.
And we don't want to throw it into actual sick pay accounting, because to make those adjustments in BS&A for sick pay is atrocious on a record-keeping side. If you have if you have a supervisor say, you go ahead and go and just come back, but make sure you bring a note, that's one thing. That's just supervisor discretion, working it into their day. But if we're actually going to do sick pay, it's going to be havoc. And then it adds to the expense side, because then it's a cost to the company that we're accounting for.
Well, and sure, what do they do if they're just like go in a restaurant to eat? I mean, if they get a call, they pick up and leave, right?
Yeah.
So what if we treat it like that? Like if your person comes in uniform, we will make sure to get them, well, And you'll make an
they'll be
appointment.
priority.
You'll be priority. If they're back there and they're seeing Michelle and they get a call and they have to leave, they leave, and she'll, finish the visit, on the phone or whatever, depending on what's going on. But, it's not like they're in the room and they're stuck and they can't leave and, something happens.
it's wrong.
Sort of like when Eric's staff go to the gym, they have people covering and they go in or you go in and eat. I mean, there's
That's true, but going to eat, and sitting down and get up and leaving is one thing. And I'm sorry, is your name Michelle?
Dana.
I'm sorry.
Michelle is the NP.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if the doctor's looking at them and they have to listen to the heartbeat and
Right.
all this, they got to take all their gear off. So it's not as immediate as if I'm sitting down eating and something happens, you jump up and get in your car and go. It's not that way whenever you have all your gear on. So I'm not saying we don't do it. I'm just saying there's more to it than just saying you can have an hour. I like what she's saying, and that's going to be the discretion of the.
Yeah, I agree
we
with
do
that.
now.
But we do account for it. so
We
that-
do that now. So and I'm sure, and I don't know if Hoy will chime in, but if I have a guy that's sick and he says, dude, I got to get some medicine,
Right.
then he works it out with his supervisor, and the supervisor gets him off to be able to go see. Now, going to the health department will be beneficial because we can get in and out faster.
Correct.
I have no doubt. By coming out with a straight policy saying you get this time off, I think that's a mistake.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that. I think we should leave it up to the supervisors to work it out.
Okay.
Do you agree, Debbie?
Yeah.
On paper, it's gonna be like it never happened.
Right.
Right.
What?
Not fine with that, Sheriff.
Michelle
It's
just
just
said,
like
I don't
having
have them
to
take their gear off, I listen around it.
Seems like it's pretty simple. but there's a lot of-
Like I said, we will, yeah, Michelle just said, I don't have them take their gear off, I listen around it. So we will do what we can to get them in and out. So, okay, sounds good. So that's up to the discretion of the department head or elected official, and we will charge them $20.
Are we starting that like January 1, or
Yeah.
we starting immediately? Or?
We can start immediately. It's easy for us to adjust the fee. That's no big deal. Yeah, Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. The other thing.
See, Jessica, if you would have taken your daughter a day later, you could have saved money.
One thing I wanted to bring up, Eric, when he did his presentation about staff, he talked about how long staff had been there. So I looked at my numbers when I went back. I was just curious. So we have 24 staff at the health department. 12 of them have been with the health department less than 5 years. One hasn't even started yet. She starts at the end of the month, and she did say yes. Then we have 6 employees that have been there 6 to 10 years, and 6 that have been with the health department more than 10 years. So half of our staff have been with the health department less than 5 years. Now, we did have a very stressful last 5 years. I will have to say that, but I just thought that was interesting.
Tell Joe we can't retire.
Here, it's already. We already, yeah, we've
I'm
had
not gonna
that.
argue with that.
I guess just me, I don't know. I'll pick someone equally as argumentative. How's that? Okay, and then, did you want to talk about like the worksite wellness stuff and the biometrics? I brought some numbers, and Jen and Dana could talk about that too. Okay. So I know that came up in a different discussion that I wasn't here for, but. So here's the numbers by department. And Jeff, I think you had made a comment about what you get when you go to the doctor, and we probably might do just a little bit more than what you do at your regular visit. And the lab cost per person is $12.05, except for there is an extra cost for men over 50 because of the PSA prostate test.
Say it again,
That's
Kristen.
discriminating.
$12.05
Picking on
per
us.
person. So I don't know what questions you had about that, whether you want to continue it. And I think, Harry, you had said something about like, tell me a story of the benefit. I think the piece that right now what we do is we run the test, we do the labs, do all that stuff. We send it to the employee and we send it to their PCP. And it is the onus on the employee to follow up with their doctor if they see a number that is out of whack, right? Now, we could make it our policy if they agree that Michelle follows up with them and is like, hey, I noticed, blah, blah, blah. And that way, we take a little bit more responsibility of following up with staff. I still think it'd be very interesting with our insurance to see what exactly the chronic conditions we're facing that are driving that cost up and see what we could do. Because I think that is, kind of a mystery. It's like they keep saying our insurance is going up, it's chronic conditions. Well, is it heart, is it high blood pressure? Is it diabetes? What exactly is driving our costs up? And I think we've been missing that connection with the biometrics and our insurance. We put it on the employee if they notice that their numbers are, something's concerning. So we don't have that success story where someone's like, hey, I noticed my blood sugar or my levels were high. I followed up. I was pre-diabetic. Blah blah blah. Because they don't circle back to the health department to get feedback. We don't get that feedback. We put it on the employee.
Do you get the lab results? Like just the numbers anonymized?
Well, we send the results out too.
Okay, so you do get them.
We
So you
see
can
them,
track
yes.
the problem areas.
We could.
So as you can see, 2020 was our highest number. 21, we didn't do biometrics because we were busy. 22, we didn't track it by department. In 2023, our position was the worksite wellness position. Just that specific position was eliminated. We had other staff covering it. We didn't do those duties because we were short-staffed. So then there's 24 and there's 25. And in 2020, they did get points for our worksite wellness where they got entered in for prizes. So that's always another incentive too. So anyway, that's biometrics.
So we have a budget line on page 59 and page 48 that the health insurance fund reimburses the health department $5,000 for these items. And then we also have, as we talked yesterday, on the health insurance fund, the employee wellness, where we have $15,000 for the healthy snacks.
In the past, we've done other programs, like we did that zombie challenge where people got teams. You signed up for a team, it was an app, and you competed for your exercise points and got prizes. So we have used that money in the past to do other worksite wellness activities. We've done some lunch and learns. It's usually the same people that participated every time. I can't remember, we did maybe a drinking water. We've done other, depending on our staffing levels, we have done some other worksite wellness activities with that money.
Do we want to keep $5,000 in there for the reimbursement of biometrics?
I think that could save a life or two.
Okay.
The healthy snack part of it, I think, is something we can live without.
Yeah.
And maybe biometrics, we need to promote it a little bit more. Let them know this is, what you would get, or, this is kind of the supplement to your annual doctor visit. You could do it instead of the doctor visit.
You could take these, I know several people who do the biometrics have us run the labs, and then they just take their results to their annual visit, and that way you don't have to have those labs drawn at your annual visit. Then you can just say, here's my results.
And it's free, where you have to pay
I have mine
the doctor.
on the 19th of December, so maybe I need to come in.
And that does save the county money actually too. There's some examples of that on there where the employees didn't pay anything out of pocket. But an annual, wellness check, that was done along with the labs at their provider's office. Those labs cost us $128.93 billed to the county. If they would have paid out of pocket at the health department, it would have been $25. If the county would have covered it, it's $12.05.
I'll be out.
And those are faxed directly to your physician, so they have that record on file.
We have a lot of people that come to have labs drawn at the health department because it's cheaper.
I've been going to doctors long enough that I can remember in the good old days, in the old days. It was, these doctors stomping all over you. Now it's, okay. See, it's all the labs, and are you in the range? So I think the biometrics is a way to go and encourage people to use them because they can give you a head start on the problem.
I agree. And maybe for those people, maybe we need to add a couple of questions to our form that if they don't have a primary care physician and to have the lab sit to, that, we ask if they would like our nurse practitioner to follow up with them.
That's
because
fine.
if they're just getting them and they're like, oh, wow, I don't even know, okay, put it in the drawer somewhere, but I did it, they might need someone to follow up with them. Or if they have questions, they can call her or make an appointment to see her to talk about the numbers. I don't know.
zero out healthy snacks?
Do you want a copy of this for your information?
Although, as they start bringing
I know you had
bananas, I
some
like
about
it.
how many.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, so I think we're good on the health department and biometrics and everything. Thank you.
And if you want a lab appointment, Sam, just let us know.
Yeah, I'll call after we're done today.
Thank you.
What would be interesting, Christie, one of us did a lab appointment and got the results and compared it to what the doctors telling us.
We sent it to Quest, so hopefully it would be.
Checking one another to
Yes,
see.
quality control, they would call that, right?
Right.
And the cost amount too.
Yeah, I will.
Okay, we have a couple of open items from yesterday. One's the prosecuting attorney, the part-time position to full-time. I don't know if there's any more thoughts there. Sam, you gave me an email from Locke on that VOCA funding. We reduced on page 79, and I have not been able to talk to Locke since this, but we reduced that VOCA grant down to $27,000 projected for next year. And we had a budget of $85,000 in this current year.
What page did you say?
On page 79, there was an email from Locke that he was anticipating that our VOCA grant would be cut by 40% effective April 2026. So this is from the 85,000 down to 27,000 is more than a 40% cut. So I don't know if that already, accounts for that or not. But we still need to decide whether we're just continuing with the part-time position and not converting it to full-time.
Was this in an email that he sent after?
I think Friday he sent it.
It was Saturday, the copy I have is Saturday, December 6th at 3:11 p.m.
I got it.
Yeah, thanks.
But he also says that there's, I guess, 2 full-time positions funded with this, so one of those may need to be cut and everything as well, or ask the county for additional funding. And in my opinion, is when we have things funded from the state or federal government and they start cutting those, then to me, those services may need to get cut as well.
Okay, so walk me through what numbers we're looking at and what numbers should be changed.
Okay, so about a third of the way down
79?
on page 79, the current amended budget is 85,000 for that line 100-163-4857, the VOCA Circuit-Based Victim Advocate Grant. So we've reduced the projected grant receipts from 2025 of 85,000 down to 27,000.
Tracking it to
Page 79.
Okay, I got you now. When you said a third of the way down, you got me.
Sorry.
I went too far down. All right.
So if that's the same grant, then we may have already reflected this. However, we have, the salaries already built in, so we would be covering those. So at some point in time, if the grant is actually reduced than it was for 2 people and being cut even more, then we've got to make some decisions of whether we keep that staff on for victim advocacy or if those position is eliminated. And I don't know how his structure is, if there's just one person or 2 people that directly deal with that, or if all the prosecutors address victim advocacy.
Jeff, you might remember too, but it doesn't seem that long ago when we started receiving this grant. And I remember the block, where he brought down this one attorney who was going to fill this position. And at that time, it was just the one attorney. But I seem to recall that he said, if this grant would go away, then this position goes away. So I don't know when it went to 2 attorneys, and I'm sure they've probably got a workload but yeah, this coming Saturday kind of, it's like,
So I mean, we could leave this open and I can ask more questions of Locke on everything.
I'm just trying to think of what would happen if I don't dispute any or disagree with anything you said there. If we would say, oh, this is important, we got to keep it, let's fund it. That would just encourage those who are considering defunding it to go right ahead because we've picked it up. I don't want to encourage them to do what they might not do because they've maybe threatened this before they come through at the end. And I agree with your philosophy that says if they quit doing it, that doesn't mean we have to pick up although the need is probably there. And maybe the state, is this federal stuff that flows through the state?
Well, he said it's state funded, but in the past that the federal had picked up the difference, and based on how I'm reading the email, and he doesn't anticipate that the federal will pick up the difference going forward.
Every county like us be making the same decision?
I don't know, Harry, on that. I don't know if this is a county by county issue or if there's just certain counties that fall under this grant. I don't have that answer for you.
The Missouri Office of Prosecution Services in charge of the statewide MOCA grant. I guess I would like to know more about how are they getting this heads up that this is going to happen and what's their plan to replace the funding stream.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to backfill it with county funds. I mean, if it was a grant, and if it goes away, then I guess the service goes away, or we find different ways to fund it. If there's other grants out there or something, and I think it's only fair to talk to Locke and tell them we're not leaning that way. That's where I feel we're not leaning that way. So
Okay.
if we got a meeting tomorrow,
Yeah, it appears that he's just saying, well, if it goes away, then we should pick it up.
Okay.
Well,
I will,
I think we need more than just an
okay, I
email.
will.
are we meeting tomorrow
We have it on the calendar.
if needed?
Yes. Or I was thinking it was on the calendar if needed.
And I mean, he may be able to answer with an email. I don't want to say we have to make him stop what he's doing and come down here right now, but if he wants to come down here and, fight for it, I think we should be given an opportunity. We're trying to do this a little more instead of, plowing through it and doing as we may without them here to argue for it or whatever.
The next item is the lieutenant position on the patrol division at the sheriff's department.
Where's our paperwork on this?
It's,
Sent you an email yesterday, including the organizational chart that Jeff had asked for.
Yeah, thank you, Sheriff.
yesterday at 12:25 PM. I'm slow on the back end of it, so.
I'll say something to Brian about the network system.
No, it's okay. I don't mind being first.
Brian did approve this, by the way. Just so you know.
But this will be partially funded with the reduction of the SRO position at Blair Oaks, and then the hope of additional opioid funding. So in total cost, it's estimated like at approximately 110,000 with all the benefits, and then the 44,000 of it with the SRO position. So the remaining offset, about 66,000, would either come from the sheriff's fund, the law enforcement sales tax fund at this point in time until the opioid money came forward.
And that's salary and benefits only. You're gonna have equipment, vehicles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other associated costs with it.
Yeah, you won't need that. We have that already.
The article in the paper this morning was, said the SRO position was split 50-50 financially, and Blair Oaks pays a third of the salary.
Yeah,
So
I didn't
follow that exactly.
Well, I don't follow much on them, but the what it is there's two positions. There's one position, this latest one, is 50-50 between us and Blair Oaks. And that's the position that we have cut. So that's the position that we need to worry about. The other position is it is a third paid by.
Roseville and Eugene.
Right.
Roseville, Eugene, and Blair Oaks is the third for their SROs. So Blair Oaks has two.
Yeah.
And they get billed differently.
So the one that we were eliminating was the 50-50 one.
Yes, sir.
The one they still have, they pay a third of the salary.
Yes, sir.
So.
Refresh my recollection of the opioid money. I know it's kind of a unknown to some extent, but we're getting streams of income from maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 different settlements. We're going to get another one that's going to kick in. It may have a life of 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I'm not sure. It's a big one, isn't it?
Yes, that's big. That's a Parma or?
And as we get the money and it comes in and gets thrown in the opioid bucket, the bucket has a balance of,
So right now, the projected balance is around 100,000 each year. So, I mean, so we get estimated 100,000 each year of the current opioid settlement. And the majority of that is for reimbursement of salaries.
But right now, we have, on page 38, I think it's the 338,000 we have in there right now?
Yes, that's what is projected to be. So there's some restrictions on where those monies can be spent, and right now, we're just basically using those to help reimburse salaries. Now, are there additional things sheriff staff could do to get a greater reimbursement of those funds going forward?
Oh, is that a question?
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and could this shifting of this position come more out of these funds
The reason.
as well to spend down some of those cash balances?
Well, and that's the reason why I chose the opioid. I mean, truthfully, you could do this with the opioid funds or the use tax. But my choice was the opioid funds because it aligns more with the position that I've written up. I've already got a job description. You'd be happy on that there, Sheila. I've already got a job description done with the additional duties that's aligned out. I've described that in the emails that I've sent you guys. I think it aligns more with the opioid money. The opioid money is very strict on what you can use the money for. Literally, I think the only entities could even utilize that in the county, it would be me, EMS, and in some instances, juvenile. So I think with that being so strict on being able to use of it, that's why I was wanting to use that money before I go anywhere else.
So on page 38, right now, there's the contingency of $97,000. So that's the balance of the fund at this point in time.
But with the projected revenue, it's going to be 300. You're projecting 337,000 something.
Yeah, there's a cash balance of 233,000 in there right now, just projected to start the year. And we're spending out around 91,000 on personal service, and then there's the 100,000 and 50,000 of those type of grant expenditure programs. But we could fund 97,000 in 26 out of opioids if it meets your qualifications.
and then we have no cash forward for the next.
And then we would have to choose between funding staff for these programs.
What program?
There's two on page 38 at the bottom. There's those settlement programs.
I have no idea what
And I don't know that I know what those are.
So where is that money going to, that 150?
I've got to look. I was thinking it was grant money we were giving out to someone.
I think the 50 is tied to printer, but I don't remember what the ask was last year.
I don't think it was an ongoing.
You know, I think it was a
was.
one-time.
Yeah.
Well, there was a vehicle bought out of there. We bought a vehicle last year for 54.
Did you pay for the upfit for it too out of that?
Possibly.
So that could be where the 100 grand came
So
from.
both of those could have been a one-time.
They were requested again, whether I missed it and they should not have been requested. Debbie, do you know anything about?
I'm sorry, I was listening, but I was missing what it.
On page 38,
Just say I agree with the sheriff. That's what you said.
Oh.
Last act of kindness.
That goes for my whole
Is that
reserve.
just that EMS vehicle? I thought there was something else too, but I can't.
so at the bottom of page 38, there's more or less on the appropriations, there's grants that we're paying out of 100,000 and 50,000. That's the same as the current year's budget. Did I miss? And those were one-time items.
Eric thinks he purchased a vehicle out of it.
He did. And then we reimbursed, but that should have been up here. It is up here that we reimbursed the sheriff, that $84,500.
Right. And then Juneau got something last year too.
Oh, yeah, they had a 50,000 allotment.
Yeah.
But do you remember what it was for?
It was to pay attorneys and to pay for certain attorneys that worked on certain cases for the opioids.
That was a one-time.
It's been going on for a while. I mean, they multiple bills to attorneys, but
No, I mean the money from opioid services. I think it was a one-time.
it was a one-time.
A 50,000 ask, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. I can go get the spreadsheet. That might help. What all we've spent out of there.
We're looking at what we spent 59,135 on. Is that what we're looking for now?
Yes, and again, whether that, the 25 was one time only that got carried into 26 by a mistake, or if there is a need for that 150,000 in 26.
Trying to remember. I think we've had some asks there from various entities, not-for-profits, and we've not followed through.
Okay.
No.
Money
Oh my gosh.
That was one. But again, it's so restrictive.
We can move on and we'll come back to that. Hopefully Debbie will find stuff.
EMS had a total used of 111,709 or something like that for equipment and the vehicle, the console, radios, if that all came out of that. Springer Family Center for the SAFE program. This was from May of this year that Debbie had emailed us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'll cancel my doctor's appointment at Columbia in the morning. Huh?
That's tomorrow's.
Yeah, I've got 8 o'clock over there. I'll cancel it.
Well, we're not scheduled till 10 tomorrow, so if you had something at 8, or you meant your other appointment.
Oh, yeah, but by the time I go over to Columbia and then by the time I see the doctor, I have to go back again and see him on the 17th, so.
For tomorrow.
I'm just,
So the next item, the proposal was a 2% cost of living, and then asked if we would look at doing a 1% cost of living was $750. So on this sheet, we have the base salary of the different 5 funds where we pay out payroll cost. Our base salary is a little over $20 million. So the 2% cost of living would be approximately $397,000. Then we have Social Security. On top of that's a little over $30,000. Then we have our loggers retirement, and it's either 7.5 or 10.9 for sheriff. So that'd be around $33,000, and then the SURF is 4%, around $16,000. So a 2% cost of living would approximately be $476,485 when you include Social Security and retirement on top of that. If we did a 1% COLA and then 750, the actual pay increase is your $476,581. You've got your Social Security and retirement on top of that for a cost of $571,495. So the difference is around $95,000 more for 1% COLA and 750. If you flip to the back side, I just took some sample salaries. So someone with the beginning salary of $38,000, the 1% and 750 would result in $370 more for the year. That would result in a 2.97% increase. 46,000 would be an additional 290, or that would result in 263. 58,000 salary would be an additional $170, 2.29. The break-even point is anyone at 75,000, and then showed an example of 100,000 where it would receive $250 less, or that increase would be 1.75%. So hopefully this, excuse me, information is useful to just to show the projected cost associated with a pay plan.
And you had the 2% in the budget, so basically we'd have to adjust it, that extra 100,000.
Correct.
I mean, I like the hybrid better myself, but just if it works into the budget.
We can squeeze this in to the budget. The law enforcement fund's a little tight. That's around 17,000 there, but the sheriff made adjustments in budget. Eric Hoy with the EMS Enterprise has made some adjustments, so that'd be a little over $36,000 additional there.
I just like the hybrid with that flat amount. For the ones at the lower end of the spectrum, this thing means that much more to them. I don't know, that's just kind of been my opinion on it, but we've done it different ways every year. Most of the times it was 1%, and then after a couple of years we do some hybrid or something with a flat.
And 2025 was with a flat and 1%. So this would be 2 years in a row, no problem with doing 2 years in a row. It just, again, if you did too many in a row, you could cause some issues.
Just say it.
No. The other is, with the salary study pending, I don't think we'll be able to get that resolved to impact the budget decisions now. But that's something that we may need to come back mid-year and make some adjustments accordingly with what we would want to do to move forward with the salary study if we can afford it.
I think mid-year would be the earliest that we could anticipate implementing it, because when we scheduled it like we did, it was with the expectation, correct me if I'm wrong, that it would not impact 26 salaries for the most part, that there may be outliers, but that it was really going to be the big impact would be 27. Am I right?
Yeah, for the whole year of it.
Yes.
David, the spreadsheet that you've given us here, under total all funds, first line, 20,234,000. Does that have the 2% in it?
No, Rob, that does not have the 2% in it. That was that's pre COLA.
So out of the gate, the COLA costs us $404,000. That number times 2%, right? Is that fair to do that?
Yeah, there's some minor, yes, but yes,
Yeah.
roughly.
EMS had a little differences because of their pay structure.
Got it, okay.
And that's where you get to the 397, 119. Rob's best estimate of going through everything with EMS, that 397, 119 equates to the 2%.
Okay, and my rough and dirty is 404.
Yeah, so
it matches. I like the Eastern District Commissioner's position on this because of what we're doing insurance-wise, health insurance-wise, that $35,000 a year employee is really the same increase as the 100,000 person is. But certainly doesn't get the kind of COLA hard dollar, and this offsets it a little bit. So
Do we need to try to stay at what the 2% COLA price tag was going to be so we could reduce the flat amount from 750 to 650 or whatever magic number was, back it down if we need to, or I'm fine staying with the 750 if we
I am too.
can choke it down.
I think we're getting too much in.
They did all the work on this already.
So, no, the general fund can absorb the $27,000 difference here. The funds, I believe all the funds can absorb the increase that's shown below if we go to the 1% COLA and the 750.
So I guess I need direction because in all the previous years, our agency has not taken a cost of living adjustment. We've done steps on the pay scale.
Kind of. Y'all got your own cost of living built into your steps.
And sometimes it's more than what we get,
Correct.
and sometimes it's less.
So I guess the direction is, are we now applying whatever we're talking about here to every step on the pay scale? Or, because I don't know how that jives. And then we have to consider the other piece where we've adjusted the middle of the pay scale this year by a significant amount. They're not going to get another adjustment on top of that besides their step. And then we've adjusted the levels above that. So I guess this is just a roundabout way, and I don't want to dismiss the work that these two have done because they've done a great job. I guess my request would be to just approve the pay plan as presented because there's too many other factors for us to try and iron out. Unless you want to hash those out, it's fine. Basically what it comes down to is The middle got the adjustment to the minimum wage. Everybody above that got an adjustment plus their step. So I don't know that we want to go back and add another adjustment on top of that.
Technically, the new grid starts 1/1 for the minimum wage. Yes, we fixed the ones that was supposed to have started in August, but his new pay plan that he's talking about will start January 1, all the way up the scale because of minimum wage. And that is probably a 2% or more for everybody, just to move that plan. And so then their steps have always been their COLA, be it a little bit more than we get, a little bit less than we get. But if you then still give them the step on the pay plan, after you've already moved the pay plan, plan, then they will end up with probably a 2% plus 1,000 or 2% plus 1,500. So it's just not what the rest of the county employees would get. So if you want to approve this flat amount and COLA, and then you come back and you talk about EMS's plan and schedule, I think you should.
Yeah. I'm probably being burned at the stake right now. But
Me too.
this is one of those things, and mark it down in history, we are on the same page here, that I don't think that applying what we're talking about here to us is feasible at this point, just because of all the other avenues that we had going on this year. If we didn't have the minimum wage conversation, then yes, I think this is a very valid piece. But I think to do this on top of that is above and beyond.
So, having heard that, you like the schedule except for the second last. I mean, you don't say like it. You accept the schedule except for the second last column, which starts with EMS at the top. Just leave it out.
Yes.
For now.
For now. I mean, we can circle back to this next budget year when we don't have all these things and have these conversations. I just think that we've already been forced to make a change. That change is acceptable by my folks based on feedback. I don't want to open up another can.
So where I've seen in the past is you have a grid, and when you do a cost of living, you just shift the whole grid. And then if you give merit step increases, that you've got steps and you do that. But that is not the case for EMS.
And so, yes, that has been a conversation in the past, but we've already done that this year because of the minimum wage increase.
Yeah.
So we've already implemented a portion of this. This would be above and beyond what we've already done.
And you may want to wait because, again, their grid is moving up because of the minimum wage for at least 2%. I haven't really looked at it, or more, depending on what step they are currently on. But we have the salary study coming. Their normal steps never happen till July anyway, so maybe we can coordinate that with that.
I think the other piece that we have to realize is that we move the entry scale or the entry level position to minimum wage. So every time there is a minimum wage change, we're going to have to do this whole thing over and over again. It's probably going to be more than the cost of living adjustment.
But then again, maybe the salary study will change that whole structure of how we do it. So, and definitely keep that in mind.
So, not to hijack the conversation, but if you carve out the second to last line, I think that column, yes.
Yes, I agree. I've said it before, I'll say it again, your people are different. The system makes the difference, right? When we start paying the rest of the county with 24-hour shifts, you can't make this argument necessarily because we can fix it over there too.
I don't even know that it's so much that. It's whenever the decision was made to go to this pay scale step structure before my arrival, that is what cemented us into this sort of situation.
And actually, at some point when someone first started building a grid with year-to-year changes, they've already, in the back of their brain, put some COLA in there.
Absolutely.
So you don't
You don't
compound
update
COLA
it.
with COLA.
And as Commissioner Helcher has said, some years those steps exceed the cost of living. Some years they might be a little bit lighter, but that is the trade-off. Generally, over that 10-year period that the pay scale covers, they are in line with the cost of living adjustments.
So when it was brought up to do it, we were having trouble keeping people. So the intention was to load it in the front to try to get them to stay here for the first couple of years. And then once they're in, they like it. Then, you know, for the middle years, they're not getting as much, but then also backloaded to keep them here for that 10, 11 years. And if it's working, then I don't see anything wrong with it. But if it's not working, there's nothing saying we can't make adjustments. I don't know if you were saying that or not, but I mean, Public Works brought a proposal for the career path, and we have different things like that too that works different in different areas.
I think, you know, we can always have conversations about what people think that they should be making and what they feel is their worth and the value of what they're receiving in compensation. However, I have never heard a complaint about the way the system is set up.
Good. I'm good with that idea. What puzzles me just a little bit, without drilling into it, is I thought that the biggest number on the bottom would maybe go to road and bridge versus law enforcement. I'm a little surprised that law enforcement number's that big, because do you have that many folks that are going to come out better? You said 75,000 is the break even point.
When you consider the
It is
jailers.
what it is. I think if I question that.
When you consider how many jailers.
They got more employees than we do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's probably it.
More than double.
Yeah. How many?
115, not including the SRO, so 114.
39 versus
39 road and bridge, plus some part-time. Yeah.
You got how many?
126.
Eddie's wasn't doing more.
Pardon, no.
So
I'm gonna get a different one.
That's the.
Well, I should have probably asked that. You talking about vacancies or positions? There's a difference there.
And again, this is based on full, funding full, all the vacancies are full staff.
So what's the question? 1% was 750?
Yeah, Harry was calculating, I didn't know what. Sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
was just looking at how many employees, how that affects the bottom line. I wasn't really considering that before, so that makes sense. Did I hear you make a motion for the?
Yeah, do the motion to do it that way, or you just gonna?
Just, yeah, I mean, if the three of you were,
Yeah.
okay,
And then,
okay. We're,
you good,
we're,
Sam?
I'm good.
You're
good
good
there.
anyway.
I'm good.
So this is what we're doing for everybody but EMS.
but, yeah,
I like the way
The
we're
1%
doing
is
it.
good.
yes.
So then that will take effect with a second check in January, basically, because it's the end of January, before the first full pay period in next year. And EMS's new plan, we'll have to talk about that starting at I think it's 1/4. They have to start because we need to make sure that minimum wage is satisfied by beginning of the year.
Debbie, did you pull some
Oh.
stuff on,
I don't know really why we separated it into two
Opioid?
different accounts, other than the sheriff and because what I gave you was a spreadsheet of the money that's come in, and down below that is what was approved by the commission to spend over since this started. This money started in '22, so I don't think we started spending it until '23. But we did have in there the sheriff's reimbursement, and we did have in there EMS. The total, what EMS have gotten or used is $131,000 of that money.
How much of it's just the last fiscal year? I mean, the calendar year?
How much have we spent the last calendar year?
Yeah, I mean,
I would
25.
guess 143,000. We
for the
spent,
year?
that we spent, yes. We haven't really spent that much. We did buy the vehicle this
Okay,
year.
I'm sorry, there's the 100, well, that 143, you're talking about the 2 grants though, aren't you, Jay?
You're talking about the 100,000 and 50,000?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think we just earmarked it separately. I don't think we, maybe at that point, because we did that at the beginning of the year, maybe there was a request.
So through September of 30 of 25, we'd spent 59,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
Where is that money? That 59, how did we spend it? Where did we
it's on
spend
that
it?
sheet. We spent EMS on the CAD system. You see the check numbers right there, or on the back of the front page? You see all the dates that are in 24? Those are the things we paid for. We paid for a Tahoe for EMS in 24.
I'm just worried about 25. What is that?
Oh, 25?
Yeah.
25, we reimbursed the sheriff for the $84,500.
No, how much?
$84,500.
That's up
Then how
above.
can that-
That's up above,
How
yeah.
can that fit in?
That's up
59.
above on that, yeah, that's up above on that transfer outline. But, yeah.
So, I mean, technically, you still have, I think we just put them in earmarked places to balance out that account. We currently, at the end of this year, still have a 201,000.
Don't we have a flaw in our putting together of throwing that 100 and that 50 down there? Because that's just like a placeholder.
Yes, I think it was.
But we've charged things to it.
Yeah.
There's been 57,
Yes.
687. What's that? That 57?
was another vehicle for the EMS.
Okay.
And then the 1,440, that was attorney bills for juvenile. They really have not used much this year.
Okay.
I did ask Toby if she wanted to forego the rest of that money, and she said that she wanted to keep that out there, just in case they needed it.
So I probably made a mistake of carrying over the $100,000 of equipment. Eric, were you needing equipment or anything out of?
There are a couple POs that are still encumbered, but that's the only request.
Okay, so I think that was a mistake of carrying the 100,000 from the previous year.
So that frees it up for what the sheriff might be asking for.
Yes.
Okay.
You already have that in there. Oh, is he asking for more than that?
Yes.
Read your
Need to
papers.
separate you two.
Read your papers.
We're not really spoiling, or not spoiling, spending away the opioid money necessarily as fast as it comes in.
No.
And we're not taking it down so much that there won't be cash forward, because there will be.
Correct.
Does it have to be spent by a certain time, or is there a time limit on it, just restrictions on how?
Yeah.
Yeah, on
So, so
We
if it
just
built
really-
up.
Well, and some of that might be our own restrictions, I'm not sure.
No.
I-
Well, we wait for your approval.
Yeah, but when we get the opioid money from whoever we get it from, I don't know how many restrictions are on. how
And
to
we
use it.
we don't really know when we're going to get it, it just kind of
Well,
appears.
there's general guidelines on what that money can be spent on, and Jill has to
Sign off.
Report it.
report it and correlate to the guidelines on how that money has been spent.
I mean, this is just, for me, it allows me to be more supportive of what the sheriff wants to do. Long way getting there.
Jeff, I've seen 2 nods.
I'm drenching it today.
Okay.
I don't know, Sheriff, I may be making it too simple, but you got other sergeants with your ability to promote one. You said you were needing a lieutenant, you were needing like a second or third in charge in there to, I guess, you're not creating a position, you're maybe adding duties to them, so maybe there would be some salary change there.
The problem is those sergeants are attached to a team which is rotating. So you would not have the Monday through Friday administrative, you wouldn't be able to do it that way. If it was, I would have done it a long time ago.
And I know when we talked about it before, I thought we were eliminating 2 positions and would basically cover it, so it all sounded good then. But then the price tag was, I guess you said 44,000 is what we're saving on them. So. And then, I mean, opioid money's not one-time money, but it's, at some point it runs out, and just like we were talking about with the prosecutor's office, you know, at that point, do we go back and say we're gonna eliminate the position? So.
10 years from now, who knows what the structure of the sheriff's department's going to be.
Well, and we're talking, and we got to have another serious conversation about sales tax for me. And when we do that, if that happens, that might be where we come off of the opioid money, and then I could absorb that after that happens. So,
Yeah, ifs and buts and.
no, I'm with you.
So. I don't know, I'm not really wanting to add anything right now. I mean, I think we're just gonna ask more of people. And I'd rather take the money and use it for raises instead of one. And I know you're probably saying you'd rather have that extra person in there to help alleviate some of the stress and to work on the other ones. So, good to be the tiebreaker, saying you got to say.
I'm for it. I talking to the sheriff before, I said, you find a way to pay for it. And he has, and so I'm good.
There.
Okay. I will adjust the opioid, those grant expenditure dollars out. We will adjust the reimbursement of personnel to account for this, and we will add that position in.
Next time I ask Sam first, because I don't think I'm gonna get a Christmas card now.
Yeah, I already got mine. So no.
I think he was holding it until budget was over.
Hey, and I looked it up. Instead of compression, we're going to start using the word compaction.
Compaction. Okay.
Sounds like a public work word.
Okay, so I think we still got the prosecuting attorney issue, but then I think the only thing left now was capital improvements. You need to take a break or anything, or?
I think we're good. And we are going to have a meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Have him come down.
So we
Tomorrow at 9.
We can see it.
Or tomorrow.
Or tomorrow at 9.
We can see if Locke could
So on page 93 is the Public Works capital improvements. That shows the list. And then on page 96, you see the total for capital outlays of $917,376. And that is out of the Road and Bridge Fund. So, any concerns with those items making up the $917,376? And again, these are items that will be coming back in front for approval of the significant purchases. The heavy equipment, the stormwater, the computer equipment, Public Works works with Brian on all of that.
Is that big road grader in there, that
Yes.
616? It's already kind of been,
Yes, that we started the,
Have we always had this in the book? Do you know?
I don't know. I think so.
Stormwater and safety improvements really wouldn't be capital improvement.
So and that's where your request come through at.
Yeah, but is it just
It all falls under the capital outlay.
okay. Under that 549
Yeah.
number, okay. Excuse me. What are we calling capital? Just like purchasing items like equipment and things like that. Safety improvements, that covers things such as if we have to take a tree down and hire a contractor, if we have to replace guardrail damage due to an accident or something. And then stormwater covers some of our requirements as required by DNR for the stormwater permit that we have through DNR.
Okay.
So maybe we need to rethink how we
Okay,
categorize
so,
some of this stuff.
okay. That's how it's been categorized, but if there's some things that you don't think should be categorized as capital improvements and they're just a maintenance expense, we need to look into those.
And I apologize, maybe I didn't pay that close attention to that particular column in the past or that table. But everything else here would be, I think, covered under that. I would agree.
Okay.
That's pretty much exactly what was in last year. I mean, numbers are a little different, but
Yeah.
So the question would be on your stormwater and some of the safety improvements as to whether those should be classified as just the materials and supplies in those lines there as the maintenance.
Those were last year's.
I would consider guardrail in the same category as replacing a sign. Signpost.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
And these two columns have not been there forever. They were added based on some things that were coming up, especially definitely the stormwater permit through DNR. And then the safety improvements, we were needing to have some funding to be able to do some of these repairs to guardrail. It didn't have a good category to put those in, so. And it is an improvement. It's a physical asset that's being added to our system with guardrail.
Okay. We will look at those going forward.
Going forward, yeah.
The numbers are good. It's just which category they should be.
And it's very minor in the overall.
Okay.
And Jeff did look up last year's, they were in
That's exactly what I
last year, so.
Okay.
So we'll move forward on those. On page 102 and 107. Pardon me?
while you're on 96,
Yes.
help me with Cap Area Metro Plan Org. Campo.
So that's Campo, and we have a yearly fee that we pay for Campo. We cover a percent of the total. I think it's 25%. Jefferson City covers
Why
75%.
is it so much more than?
Because back a little over a year ago, we agreed to pay for part of that tri-level study. Okay. And we failed to get it, or maybe the timing didn't work out well to get it into the 25 budget, and so we put it into this budget, or this 26 budget.
Got it. That's why it goes from 11,000 to 72,000.
And that'll be a one-time thing. It'll drop back to the normal next year.
Okay. Makes sense. All right. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay, yep. Page 102 and page 107. So 102 lists out the sheriff capital improvements that we built in. Since that point in time, we've revised that number to 209,646.
Actually, it's lower. I sent you an email. So the vehicles is now 38,408. Computer stays at 25, Taser stay at 30, MDT stay at 8250, and the carry forward POs is at 50,535, which is a total of 152,193.
And we will adjust the carry forwards at the end of the year based on what actually paid out and everything.
So from 418,301 to 152,193.
How much was the vehicles again?
38,408.
And we had vehicles that came in early and everything.
And that's what the 38,000 we use for, is to outfit those vehicles.
What's an MDT?
Mobile data terminal, these computers, these ruggedized.
Any concerns with those items? Okay. Then on page 117, is EMS. So the two ambulances at 678, 584, we just cut a check, or in the process of cutting a check yesterday, yes. So that will be zeroed out. And right now, the change or projected going forward would be $365,000.
And so, you know, that kind of serves as a placeholder. That's a number that we got to that allows positive cash flow for next year. I don't know that we'll spend that much if we're not going to do the construction project. But since we're shifting gears, I haven't had enough time to do any planning on what projects we will address with that money. So just kind of leaving that there as a placeholder. Obviously, as those projects progress, we'll bring them forward and spend that balance down a little bit. But that's kind of why it's there and why there's not a lot of information.
So then the challenging page for capital improvements is on 125. So there's a list of needs, 43.7 million. There's items that I've recommended that possibly could be revised since the time that this was put together, of about 4.7. And then we had contingency of right at 700,000. It's 699,768. So this is the last year of the 5-year capital improvement cycle. Those dollars can be carried forward if they're not all spent out or programmed out. I think the process or practice in the past was not to leave an exorbitant amount of money left that wasn't planned out going forward when you're trying to push for the next cycle. So we basically, at this point in time, projected to have $5.4 million available for capital improvements out of the sales tax piece. Down at the bottom, the information, the equipment replacement and upgrades, $340,000. I definitely support that. We've talked that we need to upgrade the telephone system, $200,000. I support that. The public administrator, Ralph's needing to make some changes, $2,836. I'm supporting that. The carryovers from 25, at the time we put the budget together, those were the numbers. I'm in support of that. Anything up above, kind of what I've heard is the number one priority is law enforcement HVAC. Anywhere from, at one point in time, was 1.2 million to 2.6 million. 2.2. 2.2, okay. So anything beyond that, I think is on the table. There's the public works, the repair shop expansion, 2 million is one of the things that was not funded. The law enforcement, water heaters, storage tanks, water softeners, together 300,000, 150,000. I don't know really where they stand in the priority. The elevators have been, as I understand, pushed off for years, and the Carnegie Building and the courthouse. We are moving forward with $29,000 on the courthouse elevator door, which come from these fundings. Going forward, as revenues get tighter, we're going to a 10-year, pushing for a 10-year cycle. I don't know if we've considered having a group of engineers and building experts from the outside that would help prioritize recommendations going forward. That would maybe make things easier for the commission to help prioritize. I don't know how to go about trying to really prioritize these needs against each other. Next year, I may have a better comfort level being new this year. I'm struggling to help you all prioritize these projects. On the flip side, we can put the 5.4 million in there as capital improvements and just go forward as things come up. Doing that, at some point in time throughout the year, we do need to develop a plan for these dollars so that we don't carry a significant amount of the 2006 ending or 2026 ending projects into the future. I probably haven't helped you any on this, but that's where I'm at as well.
Jay, some of the things we need to look at, the courthouse is getting busier and busier with everything that's getting transferred to here. I do have some money in there for that. I don't think it would be enough. And then we got the old jail, and something needs to be done with it. So, there's another $30 million there for that project.
And we don't have funding, and I don't think we can set funding aside to build up enough funds to address the courthouse issues, the old sheriff house, the old jail, and things of that nature.
We had errands, I think, when they were tearing down some of the properties on Capitol.
Down, but that does not include, we're going to have to move the electric stuff that's in there, the water pipes that are coming through.
Sally Port.
The Sally Port, the lead paint, asbestos on the duct wraps and stuff. So it's gonna go way up.
Yeah, but
Say, where did you get the 5.4?
If you go to page, let me grab it. That's the contingency that's left. It's 4.7 plus about 700,000 of contingency. So let me find you that page. If you go to page 127, the capital outlays of the 4,732,573. So it's below the appropriations, and then there's a title capital outlays and has computerization, office equipment, capital improvements, the county security and surveillance, and park improvements. And it lists out those, and it totals 4,732,573. And then right below that is the contingency expense, 699,768. That's the projected amount available to zero this fund out. So I left some contingency there in case something pops up mid-year that's not even on this list at all.
So this, for instance, the computerization of 365,764 on this page that you just gave me, that roughly agrees with the 340 on page 125.
Yes, and then any of the carryovers.
Got it. Okay.
So it'd be the 340 and then that 25,764.
Oh, yeah.
And at the time, that was what was not spent out of the open invoices for 25 on those carryover items.
Do you have a detail of the 4.113444?
It would be everything else. So the 340, the 340,000 and the 25,764 go together. Then the 2836 is the public administrator. Then down below, the 250,529. So then everything else on that list totals the 4,113,444.
This is probably the, if we were giving ourselves a grade at the end of the year of what was the budget and what turned out to be actual, this is the worst grade we will have, is following these numbers.
Correct. And again, there's no problem with just setting money aside for us to determine, to be determined.
And I agree with that, except this guy here, and really the rest of us have made promises to the voters when they said yes 5 years ago.
Yes.
And now we've got to. And it's the fifth year of a 5-year program is always sort of the toughest because for the first 4 years you can say, well, we'll fix that in the fifth year.
Right. Yeah, I got some thoughts and comments about everything. I can zero in on the shop expansion, but I want to talk about, respond to you, Harry. In general, with the sales tax, we go to the voters with a plan, 85-15. The 85 is pretty detailed, and it's the lion's share of the money, and we got a pretty detailed list of projects that we do. We do sometimes have to push one from year to year, whatever reason. It happens due to delays in getting right-of-way, grant extension, just things like that. It's normal to do that, but when you get to the last year, you really want to try to clean everything up, and you pay close attention to, are you hitting your targets? You know, the monies that we allocated for each line item in that, you know, there's 7 or 8 different main categories that we try to hit. The voters expect that you make a good effort at getting to that. You're not going to hit it exactly. We know in this group sales tax, we're going to be a little heavy on the overlay, resurfacing, concrete street replacement aspect of things, but I think that's kind of needed and people support that. With the 15% and the building, you know, facility improvements, there's so many needs out there, and the needs are way bigger than what, you know, 15% is going to get you. Going from a 5-year to a 10-year, it definitely expands opportunities, and it's going to require some more planning and kind of budgeting and figuring out, hey, you know, where can we fit certain projects? The jail situation, you know, that's a big deal. You don't want to go too far down that road and be doing work to tidy things up, and then maybe have a plan to expand and do a bigger center later on down the road. So a lot of thought needs to go into that. So as Jay mentioned, you know, is now the time going to a 10-year to have some sort of advisory group to help. We have a Road and Bridge Advisory Board that guides us in, you know, what we do on the 85% side. Is that something to think about? I don't want to create another committee just to have a committee, but if that's a path to go down, I think at least think about it. As far as the shop expansion, we did go into this year with the funding to be able to do the architectural work and to develop a set of plans, and that will be completed with the goal to bid that out next year. Understand that it wasn't included in the recommendation, but maybe there's a way to make it happen. I'll just add on that, we don't have room right now the way it is. Adding onto the shop and building the wash bay. The wash bay has been needed for years, and we talked about capital outlay. The biggest portion of that was equipment for our 211 budget, and that doesn't include the capital improvements money that's going into it too. We're almost $1 million, or a little over $1 million of actually equipment that we're purchasing. The biggest thing with that is you got to take care of it, and not having a wash bay on site is a huge detriment to that. So that's a big part of that. With central maintenance created a few years ago, we've taken on other county departments. So part of the goal of expanding is to allow certain areas to be able to work on other department vehicles only, sheriff, EMS eventually. So it expands that capability, which we're really limited right now. So, and then one more thing on that, as we've been told, 9 to 15% increase in cost every year that we wait on this. So one thought, with the sales tax coming to a vote, we'll know 1st of April if that's passed. With that passing, assuming that it does, we've been successful, tremendously successful over the years. I don't think it's going to change, but that may open up an avenue to be able to think a little more big picture and not in this 1-year window. So
once we know the approximate price on the HVAC units on jail, that's going to make a big difference here, because, you know, we've got anywhere from $1 million something to $2 million something. So, you know, depending on where that comes in, then that leaves this other money that we can look at capital again and say, okay, where do we want to?
What are you thinking about bidding that?
Hopefully Jessica and I can get everything together here within 2 weeks.
Okay, so
to get
first of the
get
year.
it out, and yeah.
So you'll have some answers on that pretty.
Yeah. So
soon enough.
once we get that, it's going to make it a lot easier to you know, see what we have left and what we can do with it.
And Eric, I agree with you. I think you do need to expand your base. And I do agree with Eric over here about redoing some of the stuff at EMS. In the capital, I also put for furnaces for out there at EMA.
Yes.
Which I gave you all a rough estimate for those. Didn't know, I hadn't heard anything back from anybody with the pictures I sent of those units that were rusted out to proceed getting them fixed or what we'd like to do. Those are about an 8 to 10 week lead time to get those in. For those, and those were the original to the old Budweiser building. So, you know, I agree there's a lot of projects we need to do, but we got to figure out where we're going to get the capital fundage to do all these projects. Because the last remodel for that courthouse was early 70s. That equipment's not going to last much longer. That's 55 years already. I know the switchgear downstairs has already been told by Stokes and Myers and Schneider's. If that switchgear fails down there, we can't get parts for it anymore because that was mid-50s. So there's a lot of things we need to look at. Elevators for several of our buildings. Where do we get this fundage for?
I don't think the 15% is adequate to be able to take care of these bigger picture needs that are going to be coming out here soon. You know, so there needs to be a different conversation on that, I think.
15% is too small a number, but I probably agree with that. I do agree with that. But to take it from the 85 is not an option.
Yeah, I don't think that would be supported.
Right.
Yeah, we've talked about that. The Road and Bridge Advisory Board definitely would recommend not doing that.
Right. I agree. So.
And I agree, because if you look at the county roads versus the city roads, our roads are in a hell of a lot better shape.
Well, they need to stay in good shape, and that's, you know, this is something.
And as we keep on, you know, even though it's slowed down, we're still upgrading gravel roads to asphalt. We're building new bridges. We're, you know, adding these assets. We keep on adding more assets to our system, and it's costing more and more to take care of them. So we could definitely spend more money than the 85% to take care of our roads, and the increase in asphalt over the years and concrete and everything has caused us to have to look at other options to preserve the pavements, which we have been. We were a little behind in getting going on that, but we've done well lately. But it's still, it's a long process to actually get to where we want to be.
You know, we used an advisory board committee to help us how to spend $14.8 million of ARPA money. Maybe a capital improvement advisory board is something we should consider.
Couple of the notes I want to bring up. On page 46, this is out of the general fund for the general account. There is, on capital improvements, $14 million included in the budget recommendation, and that is for the new juvenile detention center. So just want to note that we've moved on that. And then on page 129, and it's not as great a detail, but this shows the capital outlays for the 85% of the sales tax. And if you got more detail on that, Eric can get that, but it kind of breaks it down high level of those projects and everything there.
I did present that in the budget presentation.
Yes. Yes. So if today, you know, we don't want to truly lay out a plan of these capital improvements, we can move forward with I guess what I would be requesting at this time is the $340,000 for information system, the $200,000 for the telephone system upgrade, $2836 for public administrators, the carryovers, and then everything else we can put into just the capital improvement line. And I can even move the contingency up there. And it could either be held at contingency or it can be held in capital improvements. And we know that that's how much money that we have to address issues this last year of the 5-year plan.
And I don't think we can really address it until we actually know.
And that thing is that thing that adds to 5.4 million when you put all those together?
Yes.
Got it.
One thing, Jerry, I'd like to go ahead and get that 23,000 for those heaters either on the agenda for next week or get them coming for EMS and EMA building.
Yeah, that's where, yeah, we can move forward with those things.
Yeah.
It's just somehow we've got to prioritize, and is that, it's a small amount.
It's a small amount.
Is that a top item?
And 23,000 to get the heat back where it should be, then they freeze a water pipe or something and ruin the communication center, ruin whatever might happen.
Yes. Eric, is that the only thing at this point in time that we need to proceed forward with?
I mean, that's obvious and known. I mean,
okay.
The rest of it is a problem, but I don't know that it'll be more of a problem next year.
I don't totally agree with the concept of just spending money to spend money to have it spent down by the end of the year. I think Eric has indicated that if they moved forward with the expansion, that he's pretty sure that could be completed and everything by November or by the end of 2026. I just don't know what the public would tolerate or be acceptable with of this balance carrying forward, going forward with the request to go out 10 years. And again, we have some general fund reserves that we could fall back on if needed. But again, this is designed for making capital improvements to county facilities.
Yeah, on the 85% side, we do, like I said, we carry money 1 to 2 years past, but sometimes it's money that's actually allocated for a certain project that we're waiting to get the right of way, or there's reasons for that. We just don't carry it to carry it. It's specific projects that we're waiting to do.
So on the expansion, you had 2 million on here. Didn't you get that bid, or was that just the architect?
Yeah, that's the estimate. I don't have the numbers in front of me exact, but it's 1.7 true estimated cost plus, there's other fees and contingencies and all that added to it. So I think there's probably going to be some additional equipment that we would need to buy, lifts and things like that. I think that could come out of the road and bridge side, that maybe we outfit it into the next budget year. There's ways to, get it where it needs to be, and not everything into this.
So that's a good number?
I think so, yes.
Okay. So we're already going down the road for the HVAC for the sheriff's law enforcement center. So I think we need to leave that money sitting there as a placeholder and then adjust it when we find out more. The shop expansion, I think, would be really beneficial. So that would be one that I wouldn't mind proceeding with. The other, I don't know, the other one that's, I don't even know how you eat this elephant because the old jail is, there's no way to eat it one bite at a time. I don't know, I'm trying to figure out how we can do, you know, parts of it to where we don't have to come up with $20 million.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's that gonna take? Will that take putting some money aside for an amount of time and, you know, building it up? But we don't have that plan, so that's, you can't tell the taxpayers, this is where it's going, this is why we've got it rattled.
Jeff, can we meet with an architect to get something drawn up with a price tag of what it would be to tear down the old jail? Do nothing, I mean, don't put Brazilian walnut mic everywhere and high dollar lampshades everywhere, just a simple building. Can we, and then also have them look at the old courthouse as well to put a big package together?
So we've got the, I don't know where the drawings are, if they're back here again or not.
I've got a set in my office.
Because it was designed, and I like the design, it got the floors on the courthouse
Right.
to line up with the new building where it's gonna have a larger courtroom.
That was also
Solid
with
board.
when we had only, was it 3 judges or 4 judges at that time? Now we got 6. So, yeah.
So I don't have a problem with the old plans. I don't know how much you all have reviewed it, but if there's changes, we can make it, but we should have I mean, the numbers have increased, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Exponentially, but.
As I recall, it had almost like unfinished space in the upper levels.
That was one of the options, I thought.
Which now might be more easily,
Yeah, we'll
I
feel,
wouldn't say easily finished, but knowing what's needed now with 2 more judges and the big, they always wanted the big courtroom. It has to be 50 by 50, but we can't quite get 50 off the back side of the courthouse, but we can get close.
I think it was gonna be wider than it was long or vice versa, but they'd be able to get enough people in there to where they can do their jury selection instead of piecemealing it, so. I mean, that's still something that you try to ignore it, but it's not going away. You see it every time you leave, and every time it comes up, there's some kind of maintenance issue going on over there, so.
I mean, last week we had electrical issues in the building that killed the electric power going to the boilers. And, you know, there was broken wire they found in the conduit, so you had to have that fixed. And then the generator, last week, we had another broken wire in the conduit that they think water's getting into it, but I can't put any more tar on the top of that roof. I'd be afraid it collapsed. We put eight buckets full of there just to try to seal everything up. It's a lot of tar.
I'm gonna borrow Jeff's, I think, you know, the state has given us 2 more judges. You know, everything starts out going through our courts. I mean, we're on the news right now. I see Mark Ellinger, and I've seen, I don't know what, 3 judges now and all that. So I still think that the state ought to give us some money to do that, because that courthouse was built in 1895 for 2 judges. We've got 6, and we've got a lot of other.
And we're renting space for some of our other elected officials.
Yeah, so it's
Probably do.
You know, talk about quaint. I mean, but I still think that the state
See if we
needs
can
to
get
give
that
us
with
some
money
money
from
to help us with that project.
I guess my proposal is to proceed with the Public Works expansion, and that's a big chunk of it, so it's gonna leave less for us to use, you know, the middle of the year when something comes up and stuff, but I think it would provide a great benefit countywide, so.
And I agree. But we got other projects too that need to get done, but we don't have the funding for it. I agree with you 100%.
I think we need to wait until you get the.
I think
project
that's
bid out and
big, because say we're saying $2.5 million if we did all 9, and that was the number came out, and then we do $2 million for you. That's $4.5 million you know, that's,
We can't do both with what Jay says has to happen. I mean, you've got highlighted numbers there.
yeah, and so I think,
And I think the meeting that we had with Jeff and Wayne and those, when Wayne bid it, he estimated 2.2, that was on the high end. Now with that being another year said with rates going up, pricing going up, we're still hoping to be, I'm hoping to be around 1.6 to 1.7.
And that's all of them, or is that just partial?
That's doing every one of them.
Are you gonna bid it as all, or are you gonna bid it as
We're gonna bid
a
it-
set amount and then alternates?
Alternates, correct me if I'm wrong, we're gonna bid everything out, and then we're gonna bid 3, 4, and 5 out.
6.
And 6.
And then we'll throw an option out there that they want to throw a design build. If they've got some other option that they think would make more sense, that'd be helpful with either money-wise, budget-wise, or budgeting in the future, whatever they want to throw out there.
Give us like a schedule.
It's hard to do that though with anything in the future, knowing what the prices are going to be.
And Eric, your expansion cannot be done in components, correct?
The only thing you could do, like I said, I alluded to, if you built the structure and all that, we do have equipment to put in there. You got the wash bay equipment, you got some things that if you needed to structure the contract where some of it comes in at the end of the year, early January, some of that gets put in, maybe we can face it that way, but.
You talk, and I'm just asking on ignorance, you're talking about just building the structure out and then putting the stuff in it later? Is that what you're saying?
There's stuff, when I say stuff, it's some of the equipment that goes in that we have to outfit it with. There's items like that, but it's, in the big picture, that's relatively minor in the overall cost. The main is just getting the structure built, the retrofitting of what we got to do to the floor and the drain system and the oil separator.
And that's what I was worried about, because you're going to have to put some lifts in.
Yeah.
Can you do that after you build the building? Can you put a lift in after you put a building?
Yeah,
You know
right.
where it's going, and you put your.
Yeah, the floors could be designed for the lifts where they're going to be.
I don't know about that stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, and we're getting pretty close to having all that done and ready to get out.
But it's not very useful without the lifts in there.
So, with the price tags on both of the projects, that would be cutting us pretty thin, so we probably just need to wait till the HVAC we've got some more information on it, and then we'll have a better idea if we want to spend a big chunk on that, or where it's going to come
we also
from.
got telephones. Equipment replacement upgrades.
But it sounds like you're supportive of doing the expansion project, but we really just need to wait just a little bit to see where the jail project comes from. We can't get too far ahead of ourselves.
I think so. Either or we got to partially fund it with capital improvements and find it somewhere else, the rest of it. You got some pots of money you ain't been telling us about?
I haven't found it.
You learned well from Bishop and Cliff.
We're pretty thrifty. We're definitely pretty thrifty out there. For sure.
So I think the only thing we have left is I need to get a little more information from the prosecuting attorney.
Locke said he could be in here tomorrow morning at 9.
Yeah, so we're scheduled for 9 a.m. for another, and I think Health Department also wants to have something that they want to talk about, so. Christie just passed me a note when she
Oh.
if we have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay. Is it budget related or is it just?
I hope so, because there's nothing.
Okay.
There's nothing on
Okay.
here. Other than budget discussions, so
Okay.
we will assume it is.
I think we've got a lot accomplished in the last 2 days, so we'll work on getting these last item or two finalized. I will do budget work in the system to get all these modified numbers entered in. And my understanding, there's a report that shows the differences of what was approved, what was requested. and get that pulled together. And then after the first of the year, we will update all the actual numbers from '25 and modify the cash forward balance, and then modify the contingency that's left to get to zero balances for '26. And then we're scheduled for that on January 8th. It just has to be done by the 15th, I believe. So we should be good shape there.
Anything else?
Appreciate everyone's support and input on this. And again, budgets from my point of view are living, breathing documents that can be modified throughout the year if something significant comes up.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to stand at recess.
Motion to stand at recess until 4:30 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?